My name is Robert Orlick. I'm the nephew of Lieutenant Joseph Orlick, the namesake for USS ORLECK DD 886. And I'd like to speak a little bit about this ship. Over the 37 years of her history as an American warship, she served with excellence. At the end of the war during Korea, she earned 4 battle stars. In Vietnam, she was the most decorated. She found to be the most decorated ship in Vietnam. Out of Vietnam, she saved so many lives by her gunfire in support of ground troops. I've heard the stories over and over again by men who said that the Gray Ghost of the Vietnam coast, which was the nickname that the Orlick got, had saved their lives. And she was there. There were 17 official campaigns, Army campaigns in Vietnam, and USS Orlick was there in 14 of them. She was in enemy waters 29 times over that period of time. She fired more rounds of ammunition in support of ground troops than any other ship, over 11,000 rounds of ammunition. She did 10,000 at another time. And in fact, they had to replace her gun mounts as a result of the firing so much. And so she has an exemplary record, and she came back. Then she served as a reserve platform. When she was given to Turkey, she served over there, and she was a flag for the admiral in Turkey for that command. So she has quite a history. But like a lot of the Vietnam vets, and I consider her a Vietnam vet, very, very strong presence in Vietnam. When she came back, her life was not very good. Vietnam vets came back, they were not received well. She came back and she was not treated very well. For 10 years, she languished in a backwater town of Orange, Texas, and was not properly restored. She was not properly maintained, and time went by, and it became very, very discouraging to see this happen. And we thought that there was no likelihood then that her life would be much longer than the 10 years. There were opportunities that she had that went by, a chance to go to North Little Rock, which would have been a wonderful location for her, but it didn't work out for reasons. But she eventually ended up in Lake Charles, Louisiana, where she is now. And I had been involved very, very much in the early days trying to help the folks in Orange, Texas, save that ship and get her properly restored, but it just was not to be. And so I basically backed away from that, and so did a lot of other people in our organization. But then it became, lights came on, because I do the reunions and have done them for 21 years for the USS Orlick, and I started seeing Vietnam veterans coming on in big numbers. When I first started this, I was the youngest guy up there, and I was looking out, and I would see all these World War II and Korea guys, but there were very few Vietnam guys. And they were always a lot older than I was. Now at this point, I'm looking out at the group here, and there's like 60 to 65% of them are Vietnam, and I'm the old guy, and looking out at these younger guys. So their time has come with this ship, and I'm thinking to myself, there's got to be some value in that. And there, we started in 1982. After 1982, up to 1982, the Defense Department had not determined the awards that a ship such as Orlick was entitled to in Vietnam. So I made a contact with Captain Gooden, and we did some research and found out that Orlick was entitled to 14 battle stars. And if you base it solely on battle stars, 14, and Orlick had 4 in Korea, she is the most decorated warship in American history since World War II. And here she is, sitting tied up to a bank in Lake Charles, in a place that's hard to locate, not getting very much support, and a city that is not a reunion destination for military has not really opened their arms to her, and yet there's a lot of dedicated people down there trying to save this ship. Well, it became very clear that there needed to be a message brought to them. And the message was that there's a mutual benefit not only to the ship, but to the city of Lake Charles to have such a ship, the most decorated ship. Here you've got all these Vietnam vets from all around looking for a place to have reunions. And so, if you got her on the map there, if you got her preserved as a Vietnam-ready Westpac ship, and there would be a desire by these groups to come there to Lake Charles. That means money. It means rooms. It means services. It means shopping at their stores, and it means money for the city. It means revenue, so all those lights came on, and I said, I have to re-engage in this, and I did re-engage. I went down to Lake Charles. I had a meeting with the mayor and his officials, and we were able to come to a realization that there needed to be words of support for this ship, and the words of support came from the mayor. He actually asked me to help draft up a resolution, which I did before I left, and he then presented that resolution and sent it to the Louisiana legislature. The Louisiana legislature passed the resolution making USS Orleck the official Vietnam Veteran Warship Museum for Louisiana. It went to the House and it was passed there unanimously. There was some change in the language. It came back and that was changed. And so we're at that point right now. USS Orleck is sitting still, tied up to that river. She needs a permanent mooring. And if she gets a permanent mooring, she will then have people who know that she has permanency, and they will come and they will not only work on her more, there will be investors that will see that there's a value in that. And so I would just encourage people, especially Vietnam veterans, to come see her, to put their support behind any way they can to get her preserved. If she does get that period of, she does get her permanent mooring, I believe that will happen. And so I'd like to get the word out there to anybody that can help, especially Vietnam guys, start talking about her, because she is worthy of being saved. She is, if they do save her, you see all the ceremonies that are out there welcoming Vietnam vets home, trying to make up for the poor treatment that they had when they came back from the war. Well, how better could you thank them and welcome them back by saving part of the battlefield that they fought on as a memorial to them? And so that's what I encourage people to try to get behind and see that it happens, because once this ship is gone, this ship is, these Gearing-class destroyers are the workhorses of the United States Navy. There's one up in Fall River, Massachusetts, a beautiful example, but it wasn't in Vietnam. Orleck is the Vietnam ship, and we've got Vietnam vets who would really, really appreciate being remembered in this way. So we need to save the Orleck, USS Orleck DD 886.